What if you could read the secret diary of an entire nation, a day-by-day account of what millions of people are actually doing with their time? Well, believe it or not, that diary exists, and today we're going to crack it open.
We all get the same 24 hours in a day. But how do we truly spend them? It's one of those simple questions, right? But the answer is surprisingly complex, and the key to unlocking it is hiding inside a remarkable set of data.
All right, so where is this national diary kept? Well, it's not some dusty book sitting on a shelf. It's actually a massive government project that acts as our country's collective time capsule.
It's called the American Time Use Survey, or ASTU for short. Every year, thousands of people get a call and are asked to recount their entire previous day. And I mean minute by minute. It is, without a doubt, the most detailed look we have into the real day-to-day rhythm of American life.
And the level of detail here is just incredible. It's not just work and sleep. Nope. They track housework, childcare, who you were with, and even where you were. You can think of each data point as a single puzzle piece, and when you start putting them all together, this amazing picture of our lives begins to emerge.
So, now that we have all the clues, what happens when we start piecing them together? This is where it gets really interesting, because the data reveals some fascinating and sometimes pretty startling realities about how different people experience the exact same 24 hours.
One of the first patterns that just jumps right out is this significant gap in leisure time. On an average day, the data shows men get about 5.5 hours. For women, though, it's just 4.7. That's a difference of nearly 50 minutes every single day. So you have to ask, where does that time go?
And here's the why. A quick look at unpaid labor tells the whole story. On any given day, a whopping 86% of women are doing some kind of housework, compared to just 71% of men. That difference, that's the missing time. It's a direct contributor to that leisure gap we just saw.
And you know, this divide gets even more stark when we look at parents. For those without young kids, leisure time averages about 4.5 hours. But for those with a child under 6, wow, look at that drop. It plummets to just 3 hours. That's a 90-minute daily time crunch that I'm pretty sure any parent can feel in their bones.
Now, I want to show you one of the most sobering numbers in this entire data set. Just one number, 8. What could this possibly represent in the Diary of America?
It's the average number of hours Americans over the age of 80 spend alone, every single day. This isn't just a statistic. It's a powerful indicator of a potential loneliness crisis among our elderly, and it really highlights a critical need for more community and connection.
Identifying these challenges is the first step, but the real power of this data is its potential to create positive change. So how can you go from a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet to a project with real-world impact?
And here's the most exciting part. This isn't just for statisticians. The data is public. You can start with a question you actually care about, like loneliness in your community. You can analyze the data with tools you probably already have, find the story hidden in the numbers, and then use those insights to build something that really helps.
Because ultimately, that's the whole point. We're not just crunching numbers for the sake of it. We're connecting those numbers to actual human needs. That's how a statistic about loneliness can become a senior companionship program. It's how data on the parent crunch can inform a real push for better childcare support.
Okay, so after looking at these specific demographic stories, what happens when we zoom all the way out? We can combine all these individual diaries to paint a collective portrait, the average American day, defined by the numbers.
And here it is, the average American day. Sleep takes the biggest piece of the pie at 9.1 hours. Then comes leisure at 5.2 hours, followed by work at 3.6 hours. And remember, that's averaged across everyone, including retirees and students, the whole shebang. But what's really interesting to me is that leisure slice.
So what is leisure? Well, when we break down that 5.2-hour slice, one activity absolutely dominates: watching TV for 2.7 hours. That's more than half of all American free time. Now, compare that to socializing with friends or family, which gets less than an hour. Kind of wild, huh? And this table perfectly captures the fundamental split in American life, the weekday versus the weekend. About 80% of us are working on a typical weekday, but that number just plummets to 30% on a weekend day, completely changing the nation's entire rhythm. But an average day is just a starting point.
The real beauty of ATUS is that it shows our stories not monolithic. It's a living narrative with countless different versions.
The national story is really a collection of all these smaller stories. Regional stories, life stage stories, even seasonal stories. It's all in the data. People in cities spend more time commuting. Your leisure time nearly doubles as you go from your 30s into retirement. Our collective diary even shows us swapping outdoor activities in the summer for indoor ones in the winter.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway from this secret diary. There isn't just one single American way of life. Instead, the data reveals a shared foundation. Work, sleep, leisure. But on top of that is an incredible amount of rich, diverse, and meaningful variation.
This data is our story, written in minutes and hours. It's an amazing resource to understand ourselves better, to identify needs, and to find solutions. So, my final question to you is this. If you had access to this secret national diary, what question would you ask it?